following is a PCN Sports presentation.
A picture-perfect day at Penn State has already produced a pair of dramatic extra-inning championship victories. What will Game 3 have in store? We're about to find out. It's the 6A softball championship between a pair of District 1 rivals in the North Penn Knights and the Haverford Fords. Welcome, everyone. Alongside Jim Wills, I am Dan Freemuth, getting you set for the 6A softball championship. And, Jim, we've got two teams from District 1, which means plenty of familiarity between these two opponents.
Yeah, District 1 always a powerhouse in softball, and they played, twice this year. North Penn won the first one, 4-1. Haverford came back 5-0 to beat them in that second one, which was the quarterfinal. So this is the rubber match. We'll see what happens here.
We will see what round 3 has in store. Rick Torresani is in his 21st season at the helm for the Knights of North Penn. His team defeated Cannon McMillan 10-0 in the semifinals, the 5th straight postseason shutout for North Penn. A big reason why they've been able to keep the opposition off the scoreboard is the Knights' star in the circle, senior Maddie Volpe.
Maddie Volpe's had a tremendous year. 27 games, 25-2 on the year, .71 ERA, 328 strikeouts, 65 walks. Also doing it on the other side with the bat, batting .310, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. Will attend Coastal Carolina next year, so she's a big-time recruit.
Meanwhile, Bob Newman is in his 3rd season as head coach at Haverford. They ended Springford's perfect season back in the PIAA quarters, that before a 2-1 walk-off victory against Pennsbury in the semis, which featured a game-winning home run from junior Emma Taylor.
Emma Taylor's done it on both sides as well. Pitching 18-4, .81 ERA, 200 strikeouts in 129 innings pitched. As we talked about that game-winning home run against Pennsbury, and going to Yale next year to continue her softball career.
The Fords are appearing in their first ever PIAA championship. For the Knights, it's their 5th, but the first in 36 years. We'll see who is crowned 6A champion in just a bit. Starting lineups in the first pitch when we return to Happy Valley.
You are watching PCN, award-winning television. We at PCN are your neighbors, your friends, your fellow Pennsylvanians. PCN has grown from a way to distribute educational programming into a statewide network that educates, celebrates, and shares all that Pennsylvania has to offer. As a nonprofit organization that receives no state or government funding, PCN is asking for your help and support so we can continue to bring you the programs and events you've come to expect. Become a donor and support the PCN family. Visit PCNTV.com to donate now.
Welcome back, everyone, to Beard Field here at the Nittany Lions Softball Complex. The final game in our hat trick of softball championships here at Happy Valley. This afternoon, we've already seen thrilling 9-inning conclusions to the 2A and 4A tilts, and about to see what's in store at the 6A level. We'll take a look at the starting lineup for the North Penn Knights under the direction of Rick Torresani. Julia Shear will be leading off and playing center field. Sarah Sabosic will be catching and batting second. Annabella Smink in the 3-hole and will be playing third. 4, 5, and 6 see Gianna Semino, Brianna Wilmot, and pitcher Maddie Volpe. And then 7, 8, 9, Carly DiGiuseppe will be in left. Sophia Collins at short, and Rachel Lowry will play second. And the Knights will be taking their swings against Haverford junior Emma Taylor.
Emma Taylor's had a fine year, as we talked about. There you go, 18-4, 129 innings pitched, .81 ERA, giving up 71 hits, 200 strikeouts, 51 walks on the season. Very, very productive year for Miss Taylor.
Already verbally committed to Yale University. She boasts a 5.25 GPA. And here is the defensive alignment behind Taylor. Starting in the outfield, Ava Cohen in left, Brooke McEwen in center, and Rachel Yoakum in right. Infield, left to right, Carrie McCallum, Tess Smiley, Shannon Gavigan, and Cameron Cassidy. And then Haley Greenwald will be doing the catching, as getting things started is Julia Shear for the Knights of North Penn. She showed bunt and pulls back to take for ball one. First pitch at 5:56 here this evening. This game was originally slated to get underway at 4 o'clock, but back-to-back 9-inning games will do that to the schedule.
Show you a little off schedule, but it was really good softball all afternoon, so we expect a good one here tonight as well.
Congratulations to the Line Mountain Eagles, who won the 2A title tilt earlier in the day, 1-0 in 9 innings against Ligonier Valley. And then most recently in the 4A classifications, congrats to the Beaver Bobcats, who topped Tunkhannock 5-4 in 9 innings. Tunkhannock mounted a 3-run rally in the 7th to push it to bonus softball, only to see the Bobcats prevail in 9 innings. And a good start here for the Knights, as Julia Shear is ahead in the count. 3 balls and a strike. Shear on the season, a .565 hitter, 48 hits and 85 at-bats this season. Hitting from the left side, swats this foul to bring the count full. She has 10 doubles, 4 triples, and 3 home runs on the season. Shear has knocked in 19 runs and scored 36 times.
She's been very, very productive, and she's facing a tough pitcher in Emma Taylor. We talked about Taylor. Screwball, rise ball, does a very good job mixing her pitches up.
And Shear is a leadoff base runner after garnering a 6-pitch walk to get things started here at Beard Field.
Now batting number 22, Sarah Sabusik.
Assistant coach Amber Millison will be calling the pitches for Miss Taylor here this afternoon on the mound.
So a leadoff walk by Julia Shear, the 15th base on balls that she has drawn this season. She is at first, as squaring around to bunt is Sarah Sabusik. She pulls back and swats this foul back of home. No balls and a strike to Sabusik, who is a .250 hitter on the season, 20 hits in 80 at-bats, which includes a double and 4 home runs. She's knocked in 15 and scored 25 times. Runner in Shear is on the move. Throw down to second. A bit high, tagged slightly late, and a stolen base for Julia Shear, as he's able to grab second base, and she's in scoring position with nobody out here in the top of the first.
She did a good job of getting a great jump there, and just it's underneath a very, very nice slide to the outside the bag. It's in there in plenty of time.
So Shear at second, the bunt executed beautifully. Taylor over to Shannon Gavigan, the second baseman covering at first, but the sacrifice advances Shear over to third, who is now really in scoring position with only 1 away.
We talked to Coach Torsani before the game, and he's very confident in the bunting ability of his team, and you saw a great example of it right there. That was a beautiful bunt laid right down the middle of the field.
So Shear is at third with 1 away for Annabella Smink. Sophomore third baseman, batting .360 on the season, 27 hits and 75 at-bats. First offering from Taylor, and look out in the Haverford dugout. I see a few girls smiling and laughing that one off, so everybody okay. Good sign, as that ball was blistered by Smink. There's a look at the Ford's dugout.
Good reaction by the Ford's dugout that time. That was a shot into that dugout.
Smink has 2 doubles, a triple, a homer, and 18 runs batted in this season. Second offering from Taylor is popped foul as well. So quickly, no balls and 2 strikes to Annabella Smink.
Very pivotal in these rubber matches, Dan, to get off to a good start. If you're either team, you got to get off to a good start, because, you know, one game you kind of threw away, the other game you had a good game and did a lot of good things, but in this rubber match, getting off to a good start is very important.
And in talking to head coach Rick Torresani before the game, he said, look, you asked him, hey, three meetings, is that a good thing? He said, well, yeah, especially because we were a no-show in meeting number 2. That was the postseason meeting between these two. The Fords won 5-0 back on May the 27th. The Knights took the regular season get-together 4-1. That was on April the 24th. We could talk a little bit more later on about exactly how those two outcomes came to be. For now, Annabella Smink, the sophomore third baseman, has been fouling some Emma Taylor offerings away. She's got it to a ball and 2 strikes. Good look there at Julia Shear. Walked to lead things off, stole second, and then advanced to third on the successful sacrifice by Sarah Sabasic. Up and in, and a good eye there by Smink to get the count level to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Taylor really having to work here in inning number 1.
Yeah, they're really making her work hard. You're right, Dan. And this is interesting because in the last game, she kind of had her own way against them in the quarterfinals and really dominated them early. And I think that was the message from Coach Terrasani, to get them out and get them aggressive.
Well, how about the effort from Annabella Smink? That's 4 foul balls in this at-bat. She is really hanging tough against some difficult offerings from Emma Taylor. On deck is Gianna Semino. Mentioned Smink, just a sophomore. Semino, just a freshman, as Smink continues to spoil the Emma Taylor pitches.
Got a piece of that rise ball that time as it was just getting up to the top of the crescendo of the soft touch right there at the end. So nice at bat, as you said. Smink doing a good job of hanging in there.
About to see her 8th pitch of this at-bat and laces a ball into left field to open the scoring in the 6A championship. Annabella Smink saw 8 pitches, fouled a whole bunch of difficult ones off, finally got something she liked, and took advantage, driving in the game's first run.
Great job of waiting on that changeup. Hit it right when she needed to, right at the end of it, and did a great job with the eyes and the bat in that at-bat. Tremendous, tremendous work. Get that run in.
19th run batted in for Smink this season as Julia Shear comes across to score her 37th run of the year. And that brings the aforementioned freshman Gianna Semino batting out of the cleanoff spot. Semino, the designated player, hitting .452 on the year, 33 hits in 73 at-bats, which includes a handful of doubles, a home run, and 14 runs batted in.
She had a very pivotal double against Penn Manor in the playoffs, and that was one of the things that really pushed them along in that game against Penn Manor.
In addition to 14 runs batted in, Semino has also scored 23 times. Standing at first is Annabella Smink. Big secondary lead, and that allows her to take off and garner second base on a pass ball that just squibbed away from Haverford catcher Haley Greenwald.
Notice the aggressiveness, Dan. That's what we talked about. They came out here with that mindset that they're going to be aggressive right off the start, and you've seen by the base running that they have really proven that true.
So now in scoring position is Smink after the ball just kind of squirted out of the glove of Greenwald. Count is a ball and 2 strikes to Semino. Freshman who was batting down in the batting order earlier in the season and only moved up to the cleanup spot sort of in the latter half of the year, but she has really excelled in that role. Takes a pitch right down the middle for strike number 3, and a much-needed strikeout for Emma Taylor, her first punch-out of the day, and out number 2 here in the top of the first.
Take a look at this pitch, and she hit that outside corner perfectly. Caught her looking at it right from the start. Bat didn't move at all, just got that outside corner.
So a runner at second now with 2 away for Brianna Wilmot, the North Penn first baseman. A big hack at the first pitch from Taylor, and Wilmot's effort comes up empty. Brianna's a .453 hitter on the season, 34 hits and 75 at-bats, 17 extra base hits, 6 doubles, a triple, and 10 home runs. Tremendous power with 31 runs batted in, and those now program record 10 long balls.
I was going to say that's the thing that jumps out at you. Boy, the freshmen and sophomore have really been productive for North Penn this year. You know, at a 6A school, it's not very easy to break that lineup as a sophomore, but you see the freshman before her and now her, and the statistics she has, 31 runs batted in. Tremendous year for her.
This lineup has gone sophomore, freshman, sophomore. So the future bright, but the present looks awfully bright as well. for head coach Rick Torresani, as a long hold there came from Haley Greenwald, hoping for strike three, hoping to coax that ring-up call as she just dragged that ball back over the outer half of the plate, but ruled a touch outside. It will be at minimum a 27-pitch first inning for Emma Taylor as a ball is swatted first base side. A good reach by Cameron Cassidy to end the inning, but North Penn strikes first. A run on a hit. An RBI single from Annabella Smink has opened the scoring here in the 6A championship. It's the Knights 1, and the Fords from Haverford coming to bat as we take a look at that starting lineup for Haverford. It will start with center fielder Brooke McEwen, followed by shortstop Tess Smiley, and then third baseman Carrie McCallum. 4, 5, and 6 for the Fords. Go Shannon Gaffigan at second. Haley Greenwald doing the catching. We talked about Emma Taylor in the circle. Ava Cohen, meanwhile, will bat seventh and play left. Rachel Yoakum on the opposite outfield corner. She'll hit eighth. And the designated player for the Fords is Claudia Stuck, and they will be taking their hacks against Gatorade Player of the Year candidate Maddie Volpe.
Yeah, Volpe's had a tremendous year, as we talked about in the Open. She's very, very productive. 25-2, 167 innings pitched, .71 ERA, giving up 73 hits, 328 strikeouts this year, and 65 walks. She's been starting since her freshman year when they made the initial trip to Myrtle Beach in the tournament to start her freshman season, and she's been productive ever since.
So Maddie Volpe in the circle. Of course, all the gaudy numbers that accompany her productive season, but she's got a heck of a defense behind her as well. Starting in the outfield, left to right, it's Carly DiGiuseppe, Julia Shearer, the run scorers so far, and Raina Doherty. Left side of the infield sees Annabella Smink at third, Sophia Collins at short. Right side has Rachel Lowry at second, Brianna Wilmot at first, and Sarah Sabasic will be doing the catching for Maddie Volpe. Volpe had a perfect game going into the seventh inning in the first meeting between these two teams. Mentioned that was back on April the 4th. She finished, or April the 24th, I should say. Perfect game into the seventh. She finished with 15 strikeouts in that 4-1 win over the Fords.
As we talked about in the Open, these two teams very familiar with each other, so there's not a lot of surprises that are going to take place here. It's going to be a pitcher's duel. It's going to be who can get the best and produce some runs very early and see how many you can produce and be very productive on the base pass.
6 teams from District 1 qualifying for the 6A softball tournament. Just a powerhouse district on a perennial basis when it comes to the sport of softball.
Absolutely. You know, it's one of the things that's harder to get out of your district sometimes and get in any kind of position to get in the state playoffs. And as Coach told us before the game, he said, you know, after we got out of the districts, it's a little bit of a breather, and they've done a good job once that has stopped too.
Getting started against Maddie Volpe is Brooke McEwen, the center fielder for the Fords. She is a senior, hitting .443 on the season. She's got 39 hits on the year, which includes 11 extra base hits, 4 doubles, 3 triples, and 4 home runs. She has also knocked in 26 runs on the season, and she's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Batting from the left side, just like North Penn's leadoff batter, Julia Shear. And just like the Knights' leadoff batter, she's worked an early count in her favor as McEwen is ahead 3 balls and no strikes.
Change and a rise are her best pitches as well. So we're going to see 2 pitchers who are very, very similar here this afternoon.
3-0 offering is taken for strike 1. McEwen was showing bunt and pulling back. I think just kind of more of a distraction tactic as she's trying to set the table for the Fords lineup, who trail 1-0. Annabella Smink with an RBI single in the top half of the first has North Penn in front. A little slap into left center field, and reaching first and a big turn now pulling into second is Brooke McEwen, who gets Haverford started with a bang.
Well, one of the most dangerous hits in softball is when you get that slap, and especially going to the opposite field, goes over the shortstop's head. Then there's a problem in the outfield. DiGiuseppe can't get a hold of that ball, and that provides that opportunity for McEwen to get into second.
So a single and then a one-base error on the little miscue in left field. Tell you what, the speed of Brooke McEwen and the wide turn at first, that really helps produce those miscues because you know she can really move it, and she's aggressive on the base paths.
Yeah, Coach Bob Newman says his overall speed, especially with his outfielders, is really, really impressive. And you saw right away that center fielder knows how to run.
So McEwen is now at second base with nobody out as Tess Smiley steps in. Senior shortstop hitting .333 on the season, a trio of doubles, a trio of triples, a trio of homers on her 2021 resume. A 4-year starter for the Fords, committed to Westchester University where she'll continue her softball pursuits and study pre-occupational therapy as well. North Penn struck for a run in the top half of the first. Haverford threatening here in the bottom of inning number 1. And some early control issues for Maddie Volpe. She fell behind McEwen 3 balls and no strikes to lead things off and is now behind Smiley 2-1.
Volpe has not allowed a playoff run in 3 games, so it's very, very unlike her to have an opportunity to have somebody at second base many times.
Up and in brings the count to 3 balls and a strike. This North Penn team has actually not allowed a run in 5 straight ball games. 5 straight postseason shutouts for this team, but in some hot water here in the bottom of the first with a runner at second and nobody out as the 3-1 pitch to Smiley is popped foul and the count goes full.
They've been very productive along with shutting people out. 21 runs, 0 runs given up in the state playoffs.
You're going to go on a nice winning streak when you can do that.
They've done it on both sides.
Maddie Volpe has allowed, coming into play today, had allowed 15 hits across her last 33 innings pitched. And this bounces, a throw down to third and sliding in safely with a stolen base is McEwen, and now trying to advance. Oh, but what a heads-up play at third by Annabella Smink. She faked the throw to second. That got McEwen to bite as if she was going to go home, and Smink alertly applied the tag.
I'll tell you what, that's the favored play of a third baseman right here. There's a situation, you see the ball go down to third, then she gets in underneath the tag, then you're going to look, and then that fake throw, that fake toss, and then you come right back to get the runner behind you. I know a lot of third basemen that do that, and they love it when they catch somebody in that position, and you can see how Smirk felt that time as well.
Little celebratory dance afterwards as well, and well-deserved. A heads-up play by Annabella Smink, who got it done at the dish in the top half of the inning and now in the field in the bottom half. So a big first out for the Knights, but Haverford still in business because the reason that play could happen at third was because Tess Smiley was able to advance to second on the stolen base by McEwen. So she gets a stolen base and then the 5 unassisted put out. As another ball is popped foul by Carrie McCallum, the third baseman who is in for the first time. A junior hitting .532. She's got 33 hits on the year, which includes 8 doubles and 4 homers. She's knocked in 22, trying to make it 23. Tess Smiley at second now with 1 away. Volpe delivers the 0-2 and just getting a piece of the bat on that was McCallum to swat it into foul territory.
Well, one thing you can say is that the Fords have gotten contact. They've really used the bat well here in the bottom of the first inning and really challenged Volpe on every pitch.
These are pitchers that can pile up the punch-outs, but these 2 offenses are no joke either. Changeup called, strike 3.
And many a person has sat at the table right there and seen that changeup come at him. That is one of the wicked pitches that she has. We talked about her other ones, but that's one of the unsung ones that she uses here. And you can just see that pitch sit right there in that corner and get the strike.
Volpe mainly a rise, drop curve, change, and a screwball pitcher, and a big strikeout for out number 2 as a ball is popped up back of short. Sophia Collins backpedals, and the Knights wriggle their way out of first inning trouble. We played one at Penn State. North Penn won. Haverford nothing. Smink got it done with the bat in the top half. Check out the work on D in the bottom half to help keep the Fords off the scoreboard. It's 1-0 North Penn after one.
Doesn't matter what part of the state you're from, one thing is certain: Pennsylvania loves sports. On the first Friday of the month, PCN takes you inside the lines at 6:30 p.m. PCN delivers insight from the people who cover sports from every corner of the Commonwealth. From high school to college to professional sports, PCN takes you inside the lines. Learn more at PCNTV.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Nittany Lions Softball Complex. Dan Freemuth, Jim Wills with you for the 6A Softball Championship. North Penn and Haverford, both out of District 1. Here in the 6A Softball tilt. The Knights, the number 5 seed out of District 1 in the state tournament. Haverford, meanwhile, the 3 seed. Ball ripped left side by Maddie Volpe, and a bang-bang play at first, and Volpe able to leg out an infield single.
That ball was a little bit in no man's land there between third and short, and the third baseman kind of comes over and shades the shortstop just a little bit to cause that, to get that down. First, Volpe gets down there with that one step. That's definitely the difference right there, that one step and that shade off the third baseman.
Yeah, so Carrie McCallum is at third. Tess Smiley was the shortstop who made the play, and I'm not even sure if McCallum is able to reach it and then have to make a cross-body throw. I'm not sure she has time to get her either. We have a courtesy runner at first base. It's Jacqueline Diaz, who has stepped in to run for Maddie Volpe. There's a good look at Diaz. She's a freshman, doing the base running over at first. As stepping in is Carly DiGiuseppe for the first time today. DiGiuseppe, a senior, one of just 4 12th graders on this North Penn roster. DiGiuseppe, a .315 hitter on the year, 23 hits in 73 at-bats this season, and she was just plunked by a pitch. And so she's going to get aboard, albeit painfully, but that puts 2 runners aboard to get things started here in the top of the second. And Jim, more traffic on the base paths for these pitchers to deal with.
Isn't it interesting that we talked coming into the game about what a pitcher's duel it's going to be? And both pitchers have struggled. There's no question about it. Both pitchers have struggled. Now we get the free pass with the hit on the wrist right there. So now we have runners on first and second. And again, North Penn's challenging here with no outs.
So 2 on with nobody out as Sophia Collins, the shortstop, steps in. Collins made the final put out of the bottom half of inning number 1.
And I think back to that point too, Dan, yes, both of these pitchers have gaudy stats, but they're both familiar with each other.
Yep.
That's the difference in the whole thing. It's not like you're seeing them for the first time.
Right.
You know, when you're that familiar, you know what they're going to get and what they're going to throw you.
Yeah, we talk all the time about second, third, fourth time through the batting order and the familiarity that provides pitchers and hitters to be able to, expose weaknesses against one another. This is the third meeting. We're talking about 9th, 10th,
right.
11th time through the batting order.
That's not a factor here.
Right. A throw down to second. Good coverage there by Shannon Gavigan, as scooting back was the courtesy runner in Diaz. Collins is a .304 hitter on the season. The junior with 21 hits and 69 at-bats. 3 doubles, 3 homers. She's knocked in 14. Had a 2-run homer in the second inning of the semifinals against Cannon McMillan earlier this week.
She really started off the their performance against Cannon McMillan this week in that second inning, because they only went 5, and that's the thing that people forget. They only went 5 because they ended up winning 10-0. So she was the one that really got them going, and now she has an opportunity here to do the same thing.
Cut on and missed, and that's strike 3, the second strikeout of the afternoon for Emma Taylor, and a big out number 1 with still 2 runners aboard.
Take a look here. Got that rise ball, got her to go up high, and that's, she relies on that rise ball so many times. That time it got her very well.
A square around for a bunt by Rachel Lowry. She pulls it back, and the pitch is taken for strike 1.
Comes in batting .206, 13 hits, 7 RBIs, 12 runs batted in. Will be attending DeSales University. Some people, we are familiar with them, doing a lot of their games during the season.
A bunt into no man's land is going to go for an infield single. What a well-placed bunt by Rachel Lowry. The senior second baseman picks up her 14th hit of the year. It's the second infield single of the inning for the Knights, and the bases are loaded with the top of the batting order coming up.
Well, we talked about how they're not afraid to bunt. They bunted twice with the bases loaded in their last game, and I think that, you see it right there. They want to move people. They want to get people on base, and now the bases are loaded with the North Penn Knights.
Julia Shearer will be the batter. The lefty drew a walk in the first, stole a base, and scored a run. The only run scored for either side so far, but we've had an awful lot of traffic on the base paths in the early going. Bases full of Knights. Diaz at third, DiGiuseppe at second, Lowry at first, as Shearer takes low and away for ball 1.
Only one out here. This is just a big opportunity for North Penn to break this open, and that's what we talked about before. They had opportunities in those other games, but mostly those are because of errors. And this one's going to be a little bit different. This is from their power right now.
A well-placed infield single by pitcher Maddie Volpe in between short and third, and then her speed able to leg out an infield hit. DiGiuseppe was hit by a pitch before Collins struck out, and then an absolutely beautiful bunt by Rachel Lowry. Nice snag there by Haley Greenwald. That might have gone back to the screen and could have really presented problems for the forwards.
Well, the other thing is that rise ball is a very productive pitch, but when you've seen it as many times as these guys have, they're really laying off it. And Shearer did a nice job that time of laying right off it.
2 balls and a strike to Shearer. Doesn't get something to hit there. Count goes 3-1. She has worked a 3-1 count in each of her first 2 trips to the plate. And after Taylor needed 27 pitches to get out of the first, she's about to throw her 16th of the second inning, and there's only 1 away. Has to find the plate and doesn't. Julia Shearer draws a bases-loaded walk to score Jacqueline Diaz to put the Knights in front 2-0.
You talk about having a little bit of a control. The rise is up top just a little bit, and when they're laying off of it, sometimes that can go from either a swing, which a lot of people will swing at that rise, or to a ball, and they've been productive with that so far.
So the bases stay loaded for catcher Sarah Sabasic. A sacrifice bunt her first time up. That moved Shearer to third, eventually being driven home on a base hit by Annabella Smink. Healthy hack there by Sabasic. Is fouled away. The count even at a ball and a strike.
Sabasic with 15 RBIs on the season. A little bit of power with 4 home runs and a double, so got the opportunity here to get a couple more ribbies on her resume.
Taylor walked 3 in the semifinal victory against Pennsbury on Monday. She's already issued 2 base on balls in this game, both to leadoff batter Julia Shearer. And then remember, she hit Carly DiGiuseppe earlier in the inning. DiGiuseppe is at third, Lowry is at second, Shearer is at first as the bases stay loaded for North Penn. Another pitch fouled away by the lefty in Sabasic. Another sophomore. First 2 batters in this batting order. First 3 batters in the batting order, all sophomores. Shearer, Sabasic, and Smink. And then you get to Semino, who's a freshman.
Very, very young group, but come together quickly in that District 1 competition. And this is one of his best groups in a long time. We talked about how long it's been, since 1985 that they were in the state final. So been a long drought.
Cut on and missed by Sabasic. A good rising pitch there by Emma Taylor. Gets her second strikeout of the inning. In fact, the only 2 outs recorded in the frame have come via punch out. A swinging strikeout.
Dan, that's when that rise is at its best right there. When you get that handcuffed situation, the batter does a great job of holding for a while, but they just want to go after that pitch, and it works so well.
Annabella Smink saw 8 pitches in her first at-bat. Remember, she fouled off about a handful before finally getting a changeup that kind of hung over the heart of the plate a little bit and lacing it into left field for an RBI single. That knock by Smink earlier was her 27th hit of the season, producing her 19th run batted in of the year. That got the Knights on the board in the first. North Penn has added a run on a bases-loaded walk here in the second. And Emma Taylor up to 50 pitches with 2 away here in the second inning.
Trying to get herself out of this jam right now.
On the outer half, Greenwald tried to bring it back a little bit, but home plate umpire George Brim was having none of it. 3 balls and no strikes. The second time that Taylor has had to work with a 3-0 count. And Annabella Smink is probably looking in one spot and one spot only here. Otherwise, a walk's as good as a hit. Misses low and away, and it's the second bases-loaded walk of the inning. Trotting home is Carly DiGiuseppe to give the Knights a 3-0 lead.
The thing of it is, she was working on those corners. She thought she had those corners most of the time, but opportunity doesn't come about, as you're going to see a trip to the mound.
So 2 runs for the Knights in the inning on the benefit of 2 hits, 2 walks, and a hit batter. Quick conversation here with Emma Taylor trying to settle her down.
Amber Millicent out there, we talked about, she calls the pitches from the dugout, so she's out there trying to settle her protege down. And, the thing of it is, Dan, they've been good pitches. They're just a little bit outside or just a little bit short of the strike zone. And, she's done a good job of not relying on a rise ball all the time and tried to work those corners, but just couldn't get it to go.
It still feels like if you can get out of this with only the 2 runs allowed, that's a victory. This Haverford team can really swing the bats. They can produce offensively and in a hurry. This thing is far from over, particularly if Haverford can limit the damage here to just the 2 runs.
Yeah, if they can get themselves out of this inning right now, it's very important if she can get the freshman out right here.
Semino struck out looking her first time up, and Taylor in command right now, no balls and 2 strikes. Her third 0-2 count so far. She has 3 strikeouts, including the only 2 outs here of inning number 2. The 0-2 pitch from Taylor to Semino, and it's called strike 3. Emma Taylor able to work out of the jam, only 2 runs allowed, but the Knights do get 2 more on 2 hits, 2 walks, a hit batter in there as well, through an inning and a half in the 6A championship. It's North Penn 3 and Haverford nothing.
When a student comes to St. Francis University, they come with gifts and talents that are unique to them. It's our role to help those students become the person that they are meant to be.
PCN invites you to explore Pennsylvania with us, one neighborhood at a time. Watch these upcoming Pennsylvania's neighborhood celebrations featuring the people and places that make each community unique. Get more at PCNTV.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to to Nittany Lions Softball Park and Premuth. Jim Wills with you here in Happy Valley for the 6A Softball Championship, where Maddie Volpe toes the slab here in the bottom of inning number 2. Volpe encountered some traffic on the base paths in inning number 1, but was able to work out of a hit and a walk. She'll face 5, 6, and 7 in the Haverford batting order, which begins with catcher Haley Greenwald.
Greenwald's committed to Eastern University to play softball, 4-year starter. As you can see, very productive. She's had a couple of opportunities there behind the plate tonight so far and has done a good job so far.
Greenwald takes inside for strike 1. 6 doubles on the season for Greenwald. He's also drawn 9 walks and has been hit by a pitch 5 times. He's not afraid to, you can see that batting stance. She's leaning well over the plate, not afraid to kind of get right all over that plate and, you know, absorb one in the elbow or the shoulder if necessary.
Volpe challenged her there on that pitch right. That was a chip right there on the inside, right close to that elbow.
Razor sharp concentration from Greenwald. Little toe tap with the left foot. She leans over the plate and takes inside. She was hit by a pitch. There's number 6, so right on cue. Haley Greenwald hit by a pitch for the 6th time this season. They'll get a courtesy runner in for her, as Sarah Hubley, the freshman, will come off the bench, and it's high fives in the Haverford dugout for Greenwald after she absorbed that pitch and a valuable base runner for the Fords.
Yeah, both teams have been able to get some base running opportunities, and the thing of it is some people have cashed in, some people have not, and this will be an interesting thing here now. Volpe, again, we talked about both pitchers having some troubles, and Volpe with the hit by pitch right there, let somebody go to first.
So the leadoff batter is aboard for the 2nd straight inning for Haverford. A check back at first, quick snap throw, and they get the courtesy runner in Hubley. Picked off of first, and how about this Knights defense? 2 big plays in the first 2 innings.
The thing of it is heads-up plays, and I'm talking about heads-up. You got to have your head on the swivel if you're going against them, because they're going to not give you any chance to get ahead. And then you're going to take a look at it here, as you're going to see a great job of hitting that right down. A good job at the bag as well. Wilmot doing a nice job. Sabersick with a great throw down to get the out.
And that was actually second baseman Rachel Lowry who had snuck in behind the play. Brianna Wilmot was playing up, and Lowry on the backside of Hubley, she didn't even know she was there. She snuck in behind, and the snap throw from Sabersick. 2-4 on the putout. There's Rachel Lowry. Did a great job slipping in there, undetected for out number 1. At the plate is Emma Taylor, taking her first hacks of the day. The junior hitting .284 on the season. 11 extra base hits, 5 doubles, 2 triples, 4 home runs. She's knocked in 22. Taylor had the big bop in the semifinal victory earlier this week against Pennsbury. So
7th inning home run too as well.
In the top of the 7th, Pennsbury had a runner at 3rd, which Taylor was able to strand. Then you go in bottom of the 7th, and she hits the game-winning walk-off home run. That's a pretty good inning of softball.
It's getting it done on both sides. Wilmot chases a foul right there, can't get to it.
In case you missed it during the open, mentioned that Emma Taylor already verbally committed to Yale University. Her GPA is 5.25. I honestly didn't even know they went that high. A swinging strikeout here, though, for out number 2.
Speaking of that, the whole GPA of this team is beyond expectations of anyone. I mean, that's one of the most impressive things you look at first as we see this pitch by Volpe as she gets Taylor to go down swinging for her 2nd strikeout, but the GPAs are just outstanding. And where they're going to go to college next year, what they're majoring in, this is a really, really smart group. Both sides have some really, really fine scholar athletes on both teams.
And a big thank you to the athletic departments of both Haverford and North Penn for providing us all this great information about their student athletes, telling their stories, not just as it relates to this game and their performance, but their accomplishments throughout the course of this 2021 season. Because, I mean, this game right here is the culmination of all that hard work on and off the field to play all season.
And we're on that category. Congratulations, and outstanding job by both coaches, and great interviews before the game.
Yeah.
Two of the best interviews we've had in a long time before the game with both coaches, and it was just a pleasure to deal with both of them. Very, very excited to be here, and very, very loose.
Slap left side. That's going to go foul off the bat of Ava Cohen. Yeah, both loose, and I think in probably a combined 30 minutes talking to both coaches, I think we spent about the sum total of 15 seconds talking about winning this game. They talked so much about letting the kids enjoy the moment, soak in the experience, have fun. It wasn't about the result. It was about, look, you've gotten this far, enjoy it. Strike three on the outer half. Maddie Volpe enjoying the bottom of the second. 2 more strikeouts for her. She's up to 3 in the game. Her and the Knights in front 3-0 through 2.
When you need care, you need it fast. But you need it done with a gentle hand. We make caring an active choice, so you feel it the moment you walk in the door. Or when you log in. Urgent caring means we always listen to your needs and put you at ease. No matter what you walk in for, we'll make getting better feel better. It's what we do, because every chance we get is a chance to show we care. MedExpress. Urgent caring.
Join PCN July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd as we commemorate the Battle of Gettysburg. Each day includes battle walks with park rangers and certified battlefield guides, illustrating the moments in time that shaped the fighting each day. The anniversary continues July 4th with the Confederation of Union Generals portraying historical figures of the time. PCN's Gettysburg Anniversary Programming, July 1st through the 4th. PCN, where history and culture come alive.
Keep your bases covered and follow us on social media to see highlights of the PIAA championships and behind-the-scenes action. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at PCN TV and on Instagram at Pennsylvania Cable Network.
For North Penn, they had that regular season loss to Pennsbury 4-3, lost to Haverford in the quarterfinals 4-0, and obviously, as we talked about, beat them in the regular season 4-1, but outstanding 25-2 record coming into this ball game, and this girl, it's at the dish right now, a big responsible one for it, leading the team in RBIs and home runs, 31 RBIs and 10 home runs, so she's a big reason why they are 25-2.
In that second inning, 8 North Penn Knights came to the plate. 2 of them scored, courtesy runner Jacqueline Diaz and then Carly DiGiuseppe, both coming across by way of bases-loaded walks. 55 pitches for Emma Taylor through the first 2, and she would love nothing more than a brisk third frame. A ball and 2 strikes to Brianna Wilmot. You mentioned those 10 home runs. That's now a North Penn program record. And this for a young lady who is just a sophomore, so she'll come in next year looking to break her own record. Here she swats it to second, gobbled up there by Shannon Gavigan, and over to Cameron Cassidy for out number 1.
You take a look here, and I think the thing that's been troubling for Emma Taylor is she hasn't been able to set up her pitches because she's been getting behind so many people, and the rise ball hasn't been effective. But that time, she really did a good job against Wilmot being set up with her pitches.
Maddie Volpe steps in, one of the 3 North Penn hits so far, all singles. Volpe, Rachel Lowry had that bunt single, and Annabella Smink had the RBI knock into left. So of those 3 singles, only 1 has actually gone to the outfield. So Taylor's done a nice job keeping sort of the big, heavy contact at a minimum. But walks have certainly hurt her. She has issued 3 base on balls so far as Volpe pops this up. First base side. Look out for the bag. A good step over there by Cameron Cassidy. And she hauls it in for out number 2.
It's a dangerous play right there at the end with that bag.
Sure is, yeah.
She hits it, and she gains her momentum on that right foot. That was a very, very tough play to make, and she did a nice job between battling the sun and battling the bag.
It's almost like an outfielder going up against the wall, except there you can put your hand out and know where the wall is. There she sort of had to use, her back heel to figure out where the bag was. A looping liner, third base side, diving effort by Carrie McCallum. Out of her reach. No balls and a strike to Carly DiGiuseppe, who was hit by a pitch back in the second and later came around to score a run.
DiGiuseppe did a nice job that time of waiting on that changeup. Just got around a little bit too much.
Popped first base side. And a reaching effort by Cassidy. 2 fine plays by the Haverford first baseman. And after 55 pitches in the first 2 innings, Taylor needs just 9 to get through the third. Knights are held off the scoreboard for the first time, and now it's Haverford displaying the defense. Forwards will look to get the bats going after this. They're down 3-0 through 2.5.
Choose fresh local Pennsylvania milk. It's naturally packed with 9 essential nutrients. Just what you need to power through the day and fuel your body. Milk also builds stronger communities, providing jobs and pumping billions of dollars into Pennsylvania's economy every year. And it all starts with you. Choose PA Dairy. Goodness that matters to your family and our state. Find places to buy PA milk at choosepadairy.com.
Love our Pennsylvania's Neighborhood series? Here's a look at where we've already been. Visit PCNTV.com to watch on demand now or purchase copies of your favorite locations. PCN, we are Pennsylvania's neighborhood.
PIAA 6A softball tournament. I swear it's not the District 1 tournament all over again, but it does kind of look that way when you look at the paths that these teams have had to take to get here, particularly Haverford. Springford was the District 1 champion. They upset their perfect season in the quarterfinals and then had to get past 6-seeded Pennsbury in the semis to face, yes, another District 1 team here in the championship.
Well, you look at that Springford game. That was an amazing game. Springford had only given up 12 runs all year, 2 in the districts and 1 in the playoffs, and they ended up winning that ball game 5-3. So that was a huge, huge upset. There's been a lot of teams that were slated before the playoffs started to be, big opportunities for them during the stretch, and Springford was one of them. Bethel Park was supposed to come out of the West. They were supposed to be, they were unstoppable for a point too, and they got upset. So there's been a lot of teams that have been chopped down, and Haverford did a good job with their part.
The Knights on the bottom half of the bracket, 3 straight shutouts in the state tournament. 5 straight shutouts overall, dating back to the district postseason.
You see 12 hits and 8 RBIs on the season for Yoakum.
Maddie Volpe back to work, facing Rachel Yoakum, who skies one into shallow left. Coming in a few steps is DiGiuseppe. The call and the catch for out number 1.
Interesting talking to Coach Terrasani before the game about how sometimes the kids get, not out of focus, not his kids, but a lot of kids when you have a really good pitcher on the mound like Volpe. And he says the best thing about his group is their focus, and you can see it. That was just an easy play right there. And sometimes you do get, when you have a pitcher that can dominate, you just, you kind of get lackadaisical in that outfield, and that's certainly not the case for the Knights.
Claudia Stuck steps in. She is the designated player for Haverford, the junior, hitting .346 on the season. 7 runs batted in. This is just the 11th game that she has started. More of a kind of a late season start for Stuck.
How about a 3-sport athlete? That's impressive. That's one of my favorite things to see.
She is the only 3-sport athlete on Haverford's roster. She runs cross country in the fall and then participates in winter track.
Absolutely makes you a better athlete participating in two sports or three sports.
The 0-2 delivery from Volpe and fouled away by Stuck. Maddie Volpe has authored first pitch strikes to just 4 of the first 9 batters she has faced, so hasn't exactly been able to work ahead of these Fords hitters, but has done a nice job sort of circling the wagons after that and regrouping. As Stuck takes outside for ball 1.
This is a big step for the Fords, though. They've been only the 3rd Delco softball team to appear in the PIAA championship. Springfield won it in 2014, lost in 2007. Haverford is the first Delco team to establish themselves into the state championship, so not an everyday occurrence in Delco.
And this is, as we mentioned in the open, the first PIAA softball championship game appearance for the Fords in just their 2nd state tournament appearance as a program. They lost in the opening round back in 2019, a 1-0 setback to Downingtown West.
He was disappointed, obviously with the COVID year last year. They had an opportunity to be this good, if not better, and they couldn't get it to go.
They're awfully good, especially when Maddie Volpe is dealing the way she is. 4th strikeout already. 3 have been the backwards Ks. She has pinpoint control early on.
That screwball is really working well. That time you saw it go to the outside corner, and that's the kind of thing that she's been able to, as different from Taylor, she's been able to set up a little bit better in the last couple of batters. And that setup is what all the deal when it takes place when you're a pitcher.
So 2 up, 2 down so far in the bottom of the 3rd. Volpe used 16 pitches to get out of the 1st, 15 in the 2nd. And that pitch tossed to Brooke McEwen was just her 9th of inning number 3. Had McEwen well out in front of that. Brooke reached on a single in the left, advanced to 2nd on an error, stole 3rd, but then was caught off 3rd by that brilliant fake and tag by Annabella Smink. A bunt to 3rd. She's trying Smink again, and the ball pounds out of the glove of Rachel Lowry on the contact with McEwen. And so she is going to reach first on a bang-bang play.
There you see it, real nice bunt down the 3rd base line, but a great opportunity, a good throw. Just going to go out of the bag, or off of the glove, I should say, at the end of this play. You see it, they would have had her at first easily by a step, but cannot hold on to the ball.
So they will rule an infield single for McEwen. She has both of Haverford's hits here in 3 innings of play as Tess Smiley digs in from the right side. Bat waggling over the right shoulder as she stares down Maddie Volpe. Smiley drew a base on balls her first time through. Takes upstairs here for ball 1. We know McEwen already has a stolen base. Interesting to see if they try and get her into scoring position with 2 away for Smiley, trying to chip into this 3-0 North Penn advantage.
What a battle this is. Savasic, such a good catcher. It'd be interesting to see if they would really try to make a move and run on her.
Volpe delivers the 1-0. And that one's taken on the outer half for strike 1.
McEwen very jitterish down at first there with that lead.
Could also make the argument, look, we got the heart of the batting order here. Let's, try and mount something with 2 outs and not run ourselves into an inning-ending out. 1-1 is off the plate, and so far no indication that McEwen endeavoring to steal second. Head coach Bob Newman manning the first base side, so he can give those signs to McEwen. Brianna Wilmot playing up in front of the first base bag as the 2-1 pitch, and now a check down throw, but meanwhile scooting up to second is McEwen. Looked like she just went first move and took off. Brianna Wilmot spun around to apply the tag, but there was nobody there because McEwen was already on her way to second.
I'm going, I see, look at, she had that double stutter step. Nice job. Boy, that just shows you how quick she is. When you have that double stutter step and then are able to take that base, you really have some speed.
Yeah, so McEwen basically was trying to coax a throw And then as soon as the throw came to first, she's like, the heck with this, I'm going to run to second. Slides in safely, and because of that advance, that draws now an intentional base on balls to Tess Smiley. So after the first two Haverford players were set down in short order, the forwards have been able to mount something with 2 away in the top of the batting order, 2 on with 2 out for Carrie McCallum.
And the
check
first
swing, and it's bounced foul.
First walk given up by Volpe in this ball game, correct?
Well, she walked Smiley back in the first.
So, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, only 2 walks, and both to Tess Smiley. And look at what the top of the batting order has been able to do for Haverford. McEwen's 2 for 2 with 2 singles, and Smiley has reached base both times via walk. Haverford couldn't take advantage in inning number 1. Forwards trying to make good with 2 away here in the bottom of the third, and trailing North Penn 3-0. Volpe gets the sign from the dugout. You see the heavy breathing. Toes the slab, kicks and delivers. McCallum gets under this, foul third base side. Smink hustling after it, a dive from Collins, but it falls in foul territory. Boy, I didn't think there was any way that anyone was going to get close to that ball, but the way these defenses have played so far.
3 people close to it.
Any ball in the air.
That's what's impressive.
Is game to be caught. There's a good look at Collins. Getting the uniform dirty. Always love that.
They play defense so well. They move together simultaneously so very, very well.
1-2 pitch to McCallum. Cut on and missed. And a big-time strikeout by Maddie Volpe. The Knights are fired up as the forwards leave 2 aboard in the third. We're through 3 in Happy Valley, and North Penn holds a 3-0 lead.
Alvernia University and Reading Collegetown, now offering 3 new engineering majors or enhanced business and communications programs, plus one of the largest athletic departments in Division III for both men's and women's sports. Learn more at alvernia.edu.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PIAA 6A Softball Championship. Dan Fremuth and Jim Wills with you here on PCN, where through 3 innings, North Penn holds a 3-0 advantage over Haverford. The Knights getting a run in the first before 2 in the second inning. North Penn has just 3 base hits so far, but the Knights have been able to coax 3 walks plus a hit by pitch to generate some additional traffic on the base paths. Emma Taylor, 27 pitches in the first, 28 in the second, but just 9 in the third. She needed a quick third inning, and she got it. Setting down the Knights batting order 1-2-3, but a booming blast here by Sophia Collins. It's high off the wall in right center field. Collins takes the turn at second. She is going to slide headfirst into third with a lead-off triple to kickstart things in the top of the fourth.
Well, we told you last time she was up about how she had that 2-run home run against Cannon McMillan in the second inning, so you can see the power that she has. Just does a great job of using the wrist there. Powerful move, inside-out hitting, goes right to the warning track. And then by the time the relay gets in, she's heading for third, sliding in, safe at third.
And Rick Torresani, the head coach, all kinds of fired up as she slides in. She got the pants dirty in the bottom of the third by sliding for a foul ball, and then gets the jersey dirty there with the head-first slide into third. Her first triple of the season as Rachel Lowry digs in with another night in scoring position. Lowry showed bunt. You may be thinking, why are you bunting with nobody out and a runner at third? This is what North Penn does. And remember back to Lowry's bunt that she placed perfectly into no man's land. You couldn't have rolled it out there any better than Lowry did back in inning number 2. This bunt attempt is foul, evening the count of the ball and a strike.
You talk about their efficiency at bunting the ball, and they've been, it's been very, very good for them this year.
First pitch strikes to just 8 of 18 batters for Emma Taylor 2 times through the order. This bunt is popped up. It skews foul. There was a lunge by Cameron Cassidy at first. She was trying to catch it in the air, and then once it hit the ground, the spin twirled it foul, moving the count to a ball and 2 strikes.
Just shows you the amount of spin that Taylor has on that ball.
Yeah. So 1-2. We'll see if the bunt stays on for Lowry. Collins at third. Bunt does stay on. It's bounced right back to the mound. A check over at third before the 1-4 put out over at first. And holding at third is Sophia Collins.
As you can see, just lays it down, but gets a big hop out of it. I don't think she wanted to get that big hop. She wanted to lay it down a little bit farther so it could roll a little bit more and make it tougher for that decision on the third base side. But that time, made it a little bit easier for the forwards.
So Julia Shearer digs in. No official at-bats so far. She has drawn 2 walks, but does have an RBI and a run scored. She walked, stole a base, and came around to score in the first, and then drew a bases-loaded base on balls in inning number 2. Slightly open stance for Shearer. A check down at third, and a good scoop there by McCallum as strike 2 was called against Shearer. Remember, she was ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike each of the first 2 at-bats, but here down 0-2. The fourth, no ball, 2 strike count for Emma Taylor this evening. 0-2 pitch, slapped to short, and right between the wickets of Tess Smiley. Looked like she picked her head up ever so slightly to look over the runner at third, and when she did, the ball went between her legs and into center field and gets another North Penn run across.
The key is always keep your head down and don't come up quicker than you come up with the ball. That time it went right through the legs of Smiley, as you said, created an opportunity there for a very, very good piece of base running.
So Collins comes around to score to make it 4-0. Shearer reaches on the air and then heads up, advances to second as the ball kind of drifted away, and now a ball off the glove of Greenwald. That skitters away and allows Shearer to advance to third. Her speed and her base running acumen is just off the charts in this championship game.
Always keeps you worried, and then that's why he can afford to have these people bunting or fake bunting either way, because that opportunity to know the speed is what's going to really help you do those things.
So now with 1 away, Shearer is at third base after an error and a passed ball. As Sarah Sabasic steps in, she is 0 for 1 on the day, a sacrifice in the first. She struck out in the second. Sabasic on the season has 15 runs batted in, looking to make it 16. Takes up high. Greenwald thought about going back down to third. The shortstop Smiley was looking to sneak in behind the play, but Shearer was able to scamper her way back to the bag.
Boy, both catchers are really cognizant of what's going on those corners.
Popped up, straight up the elevator shaft. Third baseman McCallum takes charge, the call and the catch. And Jim, that's a big out number 2.
Yeah, they needed that really big time because of the fact that was infield, didn't really have to push that much to do it. Got the pop up, got the second out. Now they can play a little bit tighter defensively than they need to.
Annabella Smink next to bat. She is 1 for 1 on the day. She has singled, walked, and knocked in 2. Smiley has this one bound off a really tough hop. That's going to go I think it's an infield hit with a run batted in, and in between hop there on Tess Smiley, and not a whole lot she could do about it.
Now the problem becomes, and you see there in the young lady's face, it becomes a mental situation now. Now you got to that was a tough hop. And, not to give excuses out, but that was a very tough hop. She went down before, didn't go down far enough, got through her legs. This time she got the bad hop, and it came up real high, and then they end up getting the run out of it.
The official scorer for the game rules that an error. I think that's brutal.
I agree with you, Dan.
I mean, that is a brutally tough hop. You got Smink digging down first base. Even if she's able to pluck it clean, there's no guarantee it's a put out at first. And because it's ruled an error, that takes away an RBI that would have been for Smink. It would have been 3 ribbies in 3 at-bats. It does get a second Knights run across here in the 4th inning. And my goodness, has North Penn been opportunistic. A run in the first, 2 in the second, 2 more here in the 4th. Taken upstairs by Gianna Cimino, looking to put bat to ball for the first time today. 0 for 2 so far with a couple of punch-outs.
And as we talked about in the beginning, they've just come out right from the start aggressive. They've really got themselves on base, done some good things, really aggressive base running, taking the extra base, playing some great defense. They've done it all here so far.
We talked to Coach Rick Torresani before the ball game. He said, look, our motto is good defense, good pitching, timely hitting. Check, check, check so far.
And play loose. And they have been. And have fun and play loose. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's an opportunity that not many people get, and they're taking advantage of it. There's no tightness at all in any of their play.
It certainly helps you stay loose when you're building on a 5-0 lead. Cimino to short. Smiley. Good for her. 6-3 on the putout. You talked about the mental aspect, Jim, and you had to be thinking, don't hit the ball to me. But the ball was hit to her. She makes the play to end the top of inning number 4. But the Knights get 2 more. We're halfway home here in the 6A Softball Championship with North Penn in front, 5-0.
Choose fresh local Pennsylvania milk. It's naturally packed with 9 essential nutrients. Just what you need to power through the day and fuel your body. Milk also builds stronger communities, providing jobs and pumping billions of dollars into Pennsylvania's economy every year. And it all starts with you. Choose PA Dairy, goodness that matters to your family and our state. Find places to buy PA milk at choosepadairy.com.
Welcome to PMA Perspective, your weekly half-hour news program on Pennsylvania business, government, and politics. I'm your host, David Taylor, president of the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association.
To the bottom of the 4th we go. Ford's looking to get the offense revving as we are into the bottom of inning number 4, and Haverford still held off the scoreboard, courtesy of North Penn starter Maddie Volpe. She has thrown now 49 pitches in the game, 16 in the first, 15 in the second, and 18 pitches in inning number 3. She has produced 5 strikeouts through 3 innings and will face 4, 5, and 6 in the Haverford batting order here in the bottom of the 4th. That means Shannon Gavigan, Haley Greenwald, and Emma Taylor.
A nice 5-0 lead. It really can let you sit back and really throw any kind of pitch you want right here with that, lead that you have. So we'll see what happens here.
And again, for as good as Volpe's been, she hadn't really been able to work ahead. First pitch strikes, just 6 of 13 batters faced so far. Count is 2 balls and a strike to Gavigan. The second baseman popped out to short her first time up. Gavigan hasn't been hitting out of the 4-hole all season. was moved there later in the year because she was just seeing the ball so darn well. Had to find a way to move her up in the batting order and get her more at-bats. Just a smart player, according to head coach Bob Newman. And hey, that's a smart play right there. Haverford can't get back with one swing of the bat. They need some base runners, so she does a job coaxing a leadoff walk. That's 3 times in 4 innings now that the Fords have had the leadoff player aboard.
Yeah, this is we talk about Volpe's statistics and how, amazing with the strikeouts and, everything that we talked about. He told us before the game 644 career strikeouts. So that's just an impressive number. But this hasn't been her biggest and toughest outing so far. I think she struggled a little bit, but the defense has helped her out.
Bounce by Greenwald to second. Lead runner is out. Return to first. It's a double play. Lowry to Collins to Wilmot. And the star of this 6A championship so far has been the North Penn defense.
Did I say that, that the defense has been helping her out? Boom. Double play ball right over to Wilmot at first. Very nice job. Lowry's been excellent in the field here this evening.
And let's give some credit, too, to the Knights coaching staff with where they had Rachel Lowry positioned. That was not a traditional slot for a second baseman. She was shaded well to the first base side, and that's exactly where Greenwald bounced the ball.
And again, this is the 3rd time that you played them this year, so they have pretty much a great scouting report. And look at how she was shaded over. You're right. You're right, Dan. She was over pretty close. She was almost 4 or 5 steps away from Wilmot to start. It was like a semi-shift.
It really was, but just a heads-up play by the North Penn coaching staff, and then the players under that tutelage executing to perfection. So the leadoff walk goes for naught on the 4-6-3 DP as Emma Taylor steps in, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes to the 2021 Haverford team MVP, a team captain, and in the words of her coach, a leader on and off the field. She leads by example and then leads off the field of play as well. The 1-2 bounced back to the circle. Volpe over to Wilmot. That defense for the Knights just continues to shine. We're through 4 here in Happy Valley. It's all smiles for the Knights. They're in front 5-0.
Join our guests for insights on issues impacting local government and the citizens of Pennsylvania. Created by the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs, Inside Pennsylvania Boroughs connects you to legislation and policy that will affect you and your family. Your host, Chris Kapp, and his guests discuss current affairs that matter to you most. Connect with your state by tuning into Inside Pennsylvania Boroughs on Sundays here on PCN.
Great collection of highlights through the first 4 innings. And again, what stands out to me so far, Jim, has been the Knights' defense. You know, so often it seems like, you know, a throwing miscue here, you know, a bobbled ball there can be the difference. The Knights aren't even opening that door. They have been razor sharp in the field.
Yeah, you talk about a lot of different plays, and that play by Smink at third base was one of the best. That fake toss and then come back with that. That right there set the tone of a defensive afternoon that was not to be matched by many.
A ball blistered by Wilmot into right, but perfectly positioned there is Raina Doherty. First time we've been able to call her name here this evening as she makes the put out in right for out number 1.
Now batting, number 3.
84 pitches through 4 innings for Taylor as Wilmot dips to 0 for 3 on the day. You see Maddie Volpe has a hit. This is bounced to third. McCallum quickly over to first, but the throw gets away. Good backup, though, by Doherty to hold Volpe to just a single.
A little bit of a problem now on the right side of that, or the left side of that infield, I should say, with the third base and shortstop now having consecutive plays these past 2 innings, throwing it away or bobbling it or committing an error. So been a little tough on that left side.
For the Knights, number 27, Jacqueline Diaz.
Jacqueline Diaz back to courtesy run for Volpe. She ran for her in the second inning and came around to score. Now, interestingly, you mentioned bobbled balls on the infield. That was ruled a hit, even though it's basically the same batted ball that we saw from Smink in the last inning that was ruled an error.
It had a
I'm
lot
not
of the
saying,
same attributes.
I'm not
No,
saying,
you're right.
I'm just saying.
Right.
So Volpe moves to 2 for 3 on the day. Diaz once again in to run. 1 on with 1 out as DiGiuseppe, the left fielder, digs in. The senior is 0 for 1. She was hit by a pitch and scored a run back in the second. Good hustle. Haley Greenwald. What a fine play. Hauling that in up against the screen. Had to shed the mask and run a long way to haul in out number 2.
What a super player she is behind the plate. Great job shedding that mask and then exactly finding it, pinpointing it right away, puts the glove out right before the backstop. Nice job there. But she's been very, very productive behind that plate, whether it's throwing down to second or down to first or third a couple of times here this afternoon. And that play right there gets him another out. A big out, too.
Done a great job framing pitches. You're right. That is a big time out because a dangerous hitter striding in. Sophia Collins tripled and scored a run in the 4th. And then the heads-up play by Greenwald to get the throw down to second. Boy, busy inning for Raina Doherty. She's able to... Excuse me, that's Rachel Yoakum out there in right field. Busy inning for her. Knights leave 1. We're through 4.5 with North Penn in front, 5-0.
When athletes on these teams get sidelined with an injury, they look to the sports medicine specialists at Penn State Health. Our team of sports medicine providers, physical therapists, and orthopedic surgeons can help you get back in the game. Penn State Health, sports medicine.
Doesn't matter what part of the state you're from, one thing is certain: Pennsylvania loves sports. On the first Friday of the month, PCN takes you inside the lines at 6:30 p.m. PCN delivers insight from the people who cover sports from every corner of the Commonwealth. From high school to college to professional sports, PCN takes you inside the lines. Learn more at PCNTV.com.
Did you know you can watch this and other PIAA championships live and on demand with the PCN Select app? Download on your favorite device, sign in to PCN Select, and start streaming the 2021 championships today.
Well, if you looked at the last time that these guys were on the field, Emmett Taylor, they had a great game, 2-1 win. She hits the home run. The defense was flawless. Today, now 3 errors on the board. That's a little bit the difference.
So we do want to pass along a scoring change that was noted in between innings. The bounded ball by Maddie Volpe to third. was initially ruled a hit and has been adjusted to an error, which is now 3 errors on the day for Haverford. Fords have 7, 8, and 9 in the batting order here in the bottom of inning number 5. That means Ava Cohen, Rachel Yoakum, and Claudia Stuck. Do want to apologize to Rachel Yoakum. I had my other defensive alignment up when we were talking about those plays in right field. Those plays were made by Rachel Yoakum, 2 putouts plus the good backup on an overthrow to first.
From what we've seen here before today's game that we're doing right now, the outfield play was very questionable a couple of times today. Today it's been, in this game, very, very flawless.
Yep, correct. Yeah, there haven't been many balls into the outfield, but those that have ventured into the outfield oftentimes track down. The only one that I can recall in this game that landed in for a hit was that booming triple by Sophia Collins.
And the difference a lot of times that people don't realize is the 6A level, you have so many athletes to pick from. You can get better athletes to be in the outfield. Whereas you're in the lower level, that's a great play right there in the third base line.
And how about Smink? She is getting it done all over the diamond, be it at the dish or in the field. They call it the hot corner for a reason. She is all kinds of ready at the hot corner.
Done a tremendous job, whether it was the fake toss and then come back on the tag, or now the out right there. And back to my point, when you were on the 1A and the 2A level a lot of times, or even the 3 and the 4, sometimes you always have to have your best athletes on the infield part of the area, and your outfielders suffer a little bit, but that's not the difference in the 6A, and you can see the difference in this game.
Absolutely. And I know I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but this North Penn defense has been some kind of impressive here this evening. Not just sharp in terms of making the plays you're supposed to make, but 2, 3, maybe even 4 plays you don't expect to be made, they've found a way to make them.
And what was the first thing that Coach Torresani said to us? We threw away the last time.
Yep, that's right.
We threw away the last game. And there were 6 errors in that game. And, that was the thing that they've come back and really remedied that so far in this game.
He flat out told us, we that game we were a no-show, and we wanted another shot against Haverford. They've gotten it, and so far they're taking advantage. 3 balls and no strikes to Rachel Yoakum, who flied out to left her first time. It's just the second 3-0 count that Maddie Volpe has had to deal with here this evening. Gets this pitch over for strike 1. Yoakum, one of 10 seniors on this Haverford roster, unanimously voted a team captain. As she tries to bunt her way on, Volpe over to Lowry, who won 4 on the putout. Getting back to Rachel Yoakum, a leader. That's why she's unanimously voted a team captain. And the other note that we had on her was an excellent defensive player, which timing of that is perfect after those 2 putouts in right back in the top of the 5th.
And that sneaky play. We've talked about some of the things they've done tonight. They've backed each other up. They've really done a good job of all the fundamental things you want to do defensively. If there's a cutoff, if there's a backup, they're there.
Yoakum is committed to the University of Pennsylvania, where she'll be studying nursing and has plans on going to medical school. An attempted bunt here by Claudia Stuck, the designated player, comes up empty. Count moves to a ball and a strike. Stuck, just a junior, one of 4 juniors on the roster. It's a senior-laden Haverford group. Coach Bob Newman telling us that, yes, losing last season for everyone in the spring sports was disappointing, but for his group, he said, look, we didn't lose anybody. They didn't graduate as single seniors, so those players that would have been juniors a season ago, they're now seniors. The squad that he has this year, basically the same squad he would have had last year as well. Now, they did lose a season of chemistry building and development and all that, but, in terms of being able to take a whack at a state title with this group, or the group that he had a year ago, that's what he's been able to do here in 2021. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Claudia Stuck, trying to get something going here with 2 away in the bottom of the 5th. The Fords have had, up until now, at least one base runner in the first 4 innings, but have yet to manufacture a run. 2 runners aboard in the first, 1 in the second, 2 more in the third, and then another in the fourth that was negated via a double play. Haverford's left 3 runners on base so far. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th. The 2-2 delivery from Volpe, and a change of pace gets stuck on strikes. A half dozen punch-outs for Matty Volpe. North Penn continues to lead 5-0 through 5.
I'm Dave Williams, your host here in Pennsylvania Country Roads. Come join me as we travel throughout the countryside of Pennsylvania, places that you love to see, the people you love to meet, and of course, the many wonderful things that go on in our state. All this and much more every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on PCN TV.
PCN invites you to explore Pennsylvania with us, one neighborhood at a time. Watch these upcoming Pennsylvania's neighborhood celebrations featuring the people and places that make each community unique. Get more at PCNTV.com. Know a company you'd like to see on air? Contact us to nominate a Pennsylvania manufacturer or business to be featured on PCN Tours.
Welcome back, everyone, to Beard Field here at Nittany Lions Softball Park. Dan Fremuth and Jim Wills with you for the 6A Softball Championship, where North Penn continues to lead Haverford by a 5-0 count. The Knights with a run in the first, 2 in the second, 2 more in the fourth. First pitch swinging is Rachel Lowry as she pops it up third base side, where Carrie McCallum takes charge and the put out for out number 1.
That sun now a little bit shadowy down that third base line and first base line is, starting to get towards that time here in Happy Valley where the sun will be dipping down. But boy, what a gorgeous day we had here today. You couldn't have dialed up a better day.
No.
Look at the flags now, Dan. They're not even moving.
They were moving pretty good during the 2A championship earlier in the day. It was sort of off and on during the middle game, but you're right, at a dead standstill right now. As the North Penn lineup rolls back over to the top for the 4th time, Julia Shear, 2 walks, has reached on an error, scored twice, and knocked in a run. I'd say that's what you want from your leadoff batter.
Been so productive all year long, as you talked about, hits and doubles and triples and leading those 3 categories and just opportunity to get on base.
She has now scored 38 runs in 28 games this season. And she lifts the ball into deep right center field. Looking up, and it's gone! Julia Shear with a home run to right center field. Her 4th big fly of the season. All kinds of fired up and met by the Knights mob at home plate.
And she just teed off on that one. That was a no doubt about it. Here you see it, that ball straight down the middle of the plate. She gets right underneath it, and she knew it was gone. The outfielders just took a turn and said, there's no chance for that. And she knew it was gone by the time she got to first base, as you see the happy one going around the bases.
That is one happy lady in Happy Valley, and a great shot by our guys. Getting that reaction as Shear rounded first base. Her 4th home run of the season. She's now up to 21 runs batted in and now 39 runs scored in 28 games this year.
She's had a tremendous playoff series, had 1 game with 3 hits, and, that right there is the culmination of a great playoff run.
Mentioned that North Penn and Haverford have already met twice this season, as Sarah Sabasic pops it up in foul territory, and it's McCallum there for the call and the catch. She has recorded both outs here in the 2nd inning. The Knights and Fords also met twice back in 2019. North Penn winning both of those get-togethers, including an 11-0 5-inning win in the district quarterfinals. So North Penn having taken 3 of the last 4 head-to-head get-togethers. And the Knights on their way to 4 out of 5 as a ball is bounced first base side, gobbled up there by Cameron Cassaday. She goes 3 unassisted to the first base bag, but North Penn has scored in 4 of 6 innings in the ball game. They score in the 6th with a bang as Julia Shear cranks out her 4th home run of the season. It's 6-0 North Penn as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
When you need care, you need it fast. But you need it done with a gentle hand. We make caring an active choice, so you feel it the moment you walk in the door. Or when you log in. Urgent caring means we always listen to your needs and put you at ease. No matter what you walk in for, we'll make getting better feel better. It's what we do, because every chance we get is a chance to show we care. MedExpress. Urgent caring.
Love our Pennsylvania's Neighborhood series? Here's a look at where we've already been. Visit PCNTV.com to watch on demand now or purchase copies of your favorite locations. PCN, we are Pennsylvania's Neighborhood.
Welcome back, everyone, to Happy Valley and to the 6A Softball Championship, which sees the North Penn Knights leading the Haverford Fords by a score of 6-0. North Penn back in the field. And Jim, let's sing the praises of this Knights defense, which has been razor sharp all evening.
And here you see the famous job of faking it, throw back by Smirk and getting the out on third. And that right there, to me, set the tone defensively all the way through here. Then a nice toss to get back to first base. Again, the catchers have done a great job. Everybody has been, the DP has come in to double play. They were right there on the spot. That got him out of a jam again. And as we said, Volpe's been the recipient. And then another great play by Smirk down the third base line on that little pop-up. And that's the thing. She's had a tremendous day at third base, as all the defense has had for North Penn.
I suppose it's easy to have fun when you're leading a state championship by the score of 6-0, but these shots that our guys have gotten, of the celebrations by the Knights, the smiles, that raw jubilation and emotion, there is no way to quantify that. Those are that's right there. A picture is worth 1,000 words. That's exactly what our guys have captured.
And that just with Shear coming around that first base bag, with that look on her face, that was priceless, because that home run is something that she'll remember for a lifetime in the state finals at State College at Beard Field.
Haverford still has 6 outs remaining, and if you think this Fords club is going to go down quietly, think again. They are back to the top of the batting order, now 3rd time through. Brooke McEwen will lead things off here in the bottom of the 6th. She's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles and 2 stolen bases as well. Top of this batting order has been able to get on board. Haverford just hasn't been able to manufacture those runs. Count moves to a ball and 2 strikes to Brooke McEwen.
Always dangerous when you have that leadoff hitter that can give you that running slap and that movement out of the box. It's always tough to judge, and can go and poke one opposite field right over the third base line, but that's been awfully tough to do here today.
Bouncer back to the mound. Volpe is up with it and over to Wilmot for out number 1. Then they're able to set down McEwen for the first time today. We've gotten a glimpse here this evening of why she was voted the team's co-offensive player of the year. We do want to recognize that she's already committed to East Stroudsburg University, where she will play softball as well and study accounting.
And she's got a bright, bright future ahead of her up at ESU.
Tess Smiley, meanwhile, going to Westchester University. And we mentioned now McEwen's co-offensive player of the year. The other half of that offensive player of the year equation is Tess Smiley.
PSAC having a good year. Kutztown and East Stroudsburg both made it pretty far into the playoff series of the NCAA this year, so they're getting themselves a couple of good ones here.
Smiley's reached base twice, drew a traditional walk in the first, and intentional base on balls in the third. a two-sport athlete. She also plays volleyball. And a 4-year starter here at Haverford is Tess Smiley. We say 4-year starter. Look, we know there wasn't a season last year. If they had a season, she would have started. So she's a 4-year starter.
I like the way you put that, Dan.
3 balls and no strikes to Tess Smiley. And clearly there has been concern about what this young lady can do at the dish, because Maddie Volpe has certainly tried to work around the senior shortstop, hitting .333 on the year. Mentioned 3 doubles, 3 triples, 3 homers, and 19 batted in. She thought that was ball 4, but home plate umpire George Brim rings it up as a strike. She looks down at third, and head coach Bob Newman gave a little shoulder shrug and says, that's a 3-0 strike. Dig in there and take your whacks.
He has that look on his face like, hey, what do you want me to tell you?
It was so refreshing talking to both coaches before the game. And when talking to Bob Newman, we asked, it's a championship game. There's the potential for nerves and jitters. And he said, this team is loose. This is the loosest group you're going to find. And it starts right there because he's loose. And when the guy at the top of the food chain is loose, that trickles down. And you love to see how loose he is still in the 6th inning with his team down 6-0. That becomes infectious to the group and really helps you rise up in those tense moments.
And the other thing that they really have a big advantage with is their ability in the classroom. They're not going to get fooled by a lot of things. They're not going to get stressed by a lot of things because they know how to handle all those different things. And as we talked about their GPAs, which we can run on, we have a whole sheet that we could go from, 3.6 to 5.5, anywhere in between. And they just have done an excellent job of having a good time and doing a good job in the classroom as well.
So Smiley aboard via the base on balls yet again. 3rd walk she has drawn, and now hit by a pitch is Carrie McCallum. And this is exactly how you start the comeback road. Runners on base, and now the forwards just need to find a way to dig in and cash in with some of these runners in scoring position.
You see a little look of concern on Volpe's face right there. This is not what you wanted to do in the bottom of the 6th, is give 2 base runners opportunities with freebies.
Sophomore second baseman Shannon Gavigan digs in with a couple of runners aboard. Takes inside for strike number 1. Gavigan came into play today hitting well over 300. 8 extra base hits on her 2021 resume, including a team best 4 triples. She can really move. 0 for 1 on the day. She popped out to short in the 1st, drew a leadoff walk in the 4th, and then was part of that 4-6-3 double play. Big moment here for Haverford. And a big pitch delivered by Maddie Volpe.
That screwball to the outside corner, that's the thing. She had her swinging before that ball even got into the catcher's, glove on that side. That's the thing. That screwball can do a lot of different things. It jumps all over the place.
The 1-2 pitch on its way. Popped up. Sabasic is there. Smink, the third baseman, makes the call and the grab for out number 2.
As Smink continues to push votes for the MVP honors at this ball game right now. And she's been giving that signal a lot here today, as we've seen on the replay of how many outs there are, but she has done an outstanding job.
Just sure-handed as can be. As Haley Greenwald digs in, was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. 2 forwards have been hit by pitches now, and then she grounded into a double play back in the 4th. A check swing here on a pitch upstairs. And it's ruled a strike as the bat crossed the front edge of home plate. Forwards have left 3 runners on base so far. 2 Haverford players aboard right now. Trying to cash in for the first time here today, and Haverford running out of time here in the 6A championship. No balls and 2 strikes. Just the 3rd 0-2 count in the favor of Maddie Volpe here this evening. She has really had to grind her way through this outing. Next pitch will be her 95th of the evening.
That's an absolutely astonishing fact that you say that, Dan, because when you look at the score and you look at what she's done, you would have never thought that.
Strike 3 called on the inside part of the plate. Haley Greenwald disagreed. It's the 7th punch-out of the day for Maddie Volpe. The North Penn Knights are 3 outs away from a 6A softball championship. They'll try to add some more insurance at the top of the 7th when we return. Step away from the field and back in time to commemorate the Battle of Gettysburg with 3 nights of special programming, July 1st through the 4th. Watch each night beginning at 7 p.m. on cable and streaming with PCN Select. Dan Freemuth and Jim Wills with you back here at Beard Field at Nittany Lion Softball Park, where we're into the 7th inning. North Penn leading Haverford 6-0. Knights with a single run in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the sixth. Both teams, Jim, have had traction on the base paths. The difference has been North Penn's been able to cash in with runners aboard, and Haverford just unfortunately has not.
Yeah, they haven't been able to get to that area where they can really cash in, but North Penn's been aggressive, and we talked about how they came into this game with that chip on their shoulder from the last time out, and you can see that they've played with that kind of confidence all day long.
Fords have left 5 runners on base now through 6 innings. Knights, meanwhile, have left 6 runners aboard, but they have produced 6 runs on 5 base hits. 6 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for North Penn through 6. No runs for Haverford, 2 base hits, and 3 errors. 4, 5, and 6 in the North Penn batting order here in the top of the 7th, looking to add some more insurance. That means Gianna Semino, Brianna Wilmot, and the pitcher Maddie Volpe. Semino is 0 for 3 on the day, has struck out twice and grounded out. A ball that's swung on and missed, but she's going to be able to reach first on a passed ball. I thought maybe there was a foul tip there, but they rule no. It was a clean swing and a miss. We'll get another look at it here on this pitch down. Yeah,
no, just good call. Good call.
Just snuck under the glove. So that's a strikeout, the 5th of the day. It's the first strikeout recorded by Emma Taylor since the end of the 2nd inning. But reaching first is Semino via the pass ball. A ball boomed down the first base line, turning and pulling into third, but thrown out. Trying to go first to third is Semino. A fine play there out in right field. Yoakum getting it in quickly, and then the relay cuts down Semino.
Now you see it hit down that line, and then it's great job of relay back to third base for the out. Easy play at third, but a great job of getting it in, getting it over. That's the kind of thing you want to see. Second baseman throws it right over. It's gone, throws it right over to McCallum for the out.
Bounced up the middle. First pitch swinging is Maddie Volpe, and she's got her 2nd hit of the day. 2 for 4 now And now how big does that relay put out at third loom? Could have been more insurance there. 9-4-5 goes the put out as Semino was cut down at third. Wilmot advances to second on the base hit by Volpe, who steps away for a courtesy runner in Mackenzie Gazankis.
Jacqueline Diaz will go down to first as well. So both courtesy runners now at second and first.
So Gazankis is the runner at second, and you see Diaz, the third time she has courtesy ran for Volpe in this game. She's at first, 2 on with 1 away. As Carly DiGiuseppe steps in, she is 0 for 2, has popped out twice, been hit by a pitch and scored a run. Takes a healthy hack at that Taylor offering and fouls it straight back to the screen. Knights up to 7 hits on the day against Emma Taylor. And a changeup is lifted into left center field. Falling fast, a lunging effort by Cohen, can't come up with it. Rounding third is Gazankis. She's gonna slide in feet first to make it 7-0 North Penn. RBI base hit off the bat of Carly DiGiuseppe.
Now this is gonna be out in the middle there. We talked about outfield play. Tries to put that glove out to get it is Cohen, but can't get to it in time. Creates an opportunity for another North Penn Knight to score.
So Mackenzie Gazankis waited for it to drop. She was kind of hovering between second and third, and then as soon as it touched grass, she got to third, waved home by Rick Torresani. And now 7-0 North Penn. Meanwhile, behind the play, Jacqueline Diaz, the freshman, got the second. DiGiuseppe now standing at first. 2 aboard with 1 away as Sophia Collins steps in 1 for 3 with a triple and a run scored.
I was going to say a dangerous batter right now. We knew where she planted that one when she got that triple deep into the outfield.
This is the 5th championship game appearance in program history for North Penn. Mentioned the first in 36 years, though. The Knights are 3-1 all-time in state title games, winning PIAA gold in 1976, 1981, and 1985. A runner-up finish in 1980. Rick Torresani, he's been at the program a long time. This is his 21st season, but he wasn't anywhere close to being part of any of that, which tells you just how long it's been since the last time North Penn factored into the state championship equation.
Well, he talked about that, how tough it is just to get out of their district, and that is certainly the case.
Boy, what a lacing liner off the bat of Sophia Collins. She has had 2 really well-struck balls in the game. Station-to-station softball for the Knights, as the bases are loaded with only 1 away as Rachel Lowry digs in.
Waits on that one, does a good job of getting through. Excellent hit into the outfield, and then we're going to load up the bases with Knights once again. We've seen this a couple times during this ball game. We'll see if this only 1 out again and the opportunity to take place here for Lowry.
They got the bases loaded in the second inning. It led to a couple of bases loaded walks as a fly ball by Lowry is lifted into right. And what a play coming on by Rachel Yoakum. I think she was battling the sun just to find it. Then when she did, a sliding, scooping catch. And now Haverford trying to get the ball back to second because they think not a proper tag there. They will appeal and say everybody is indeed safe. So it's an RBI sac fly by Lowry. That got the courtesy runner in Diaz home. They'll appeal both at second and at third, and both ruled safe. Bob Newman coming out of the dugout, trying to get an explanation from home plate umpire George Brim on the tag-ups.
But what a play by Yoakum in the outfield. I mean, she was backpedaling, and then she just decided that ball's going to sink a little bit, came flying in and just made that play in time on a great dive.
Boy, she sure did.
Number 17.
That is a heck of a play. Jacqueline Diaz was the courtesy runner that tagged and scored from third. Meanwhile, DiGiuseppe went from second to third, while Sophia Collins had to stay put at first. So runners at the corners now as Julia Shear lifts one into left. It is over the head of Ava Cohen. One run is in. Collins being waved around. She will score. Two more on the board for the Knights. And how about the evening offensively for Julia Shear?
Couldn't have done a better job in any facet of the game. She's been very, very productive at the dish, and boy, I'll tell you, fun to watch.
Number 22.
They are having all kinds of fun. An opposite field, 2-run double off the bat of Julia Shear. 4 runs across here in the 7th, and in the blink of an eye, the delta is double figures as another ball is hammered into the outfield. This is a double and maybe more for Sabasic. It's in fact a headfirst sliding RBI triple. It's 11-0 North Penn.
Well, when the hits are going, the hits are going. And that time, a great job right inside the foul line, down that first base line. Ball rolls right to the wall. And then as they've done all game long, Dan, we talked about this, aggressive base running. They have really taken that to another level in this ball game of running the bases and saying, we're just running with abandon today. We're not doing anything safe. We're going for the gusto, and they've done it.
The double by Julia Shear was her 11th double of the season. She then came around to score on the first triple of the year by Sarah Sabasic. Shear, meanwhile, has scored 4 runs in the ball game. And we've got a pinch hitter in Marissa Palumbo, one of 4 seniors. So the senior getting an opportunity to take her hacks here in the PIAA championship. The other seniors are Maddie Volpe, Rachel Lowry, and Carly DiGiuseppe, all in the starting lineup. A check swing by Palumbo. They will appeal down to first, and they say a cut across the plate. So Annabella Smink giving up her at-bat here in the 7th inning to the 4th and final senior, Marissa Palumbo. She's just 0 for 4 on the season, but a pinch hit appearance here in the PIAA championship will result in a strikeout. But how about the North Penn Knights, who bat around in inning number 7? 4 runs on 6 hits, sparked by an RBI triple by Sarah Sabasic. It's 11-0 North Penn as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
We at PCN are your neighbors, your friends, your fellow Pennsylvanians. PCN has grown from a way to distribute educational programming into a statewide network that educates, celebrates, and shares all that Pennsylvania has to offer. As a nonprofit organization that receives no state or government funding, PCN is asking for your help and support so we can continue to bring you the programs and events you've come to expect. Become a donor and support the PCN family. Visit PCNTV.com to donate now.
PIAA championship games are the exclusive property of PIAA. Television coverage is licensed to PCN, whose exclusive rights are protected by federal copyright law. Any retransmission of any kind or other use of the television coverage of this game without the express written consent of the PIAA is prohibited by law. 11 runs for North Penn on 11 hits. Only 1 error for the Knights. And how about that top of the 7th inning? I'm not sure that Maddie Volpe needed more insurance, but she sure got it.
But she got it without even buying it. And she's got a nice, comfortable 11-0 lead right now. But 3 opportunities right here for Haverford to get themselves back in the game, but it's just been a rough road for them all afternoon, and it started out that way right from the get-go.
Yeah, there was traffic on the base paths almost immediately, and the difference is that both sides got early traffic. Remember, first inning, Haverford, they got the first 2 batters aboard, a leadoff single, Brooke McEwen, and Tess Smiley then with a walk. So they had runners aboard early. Haley Greenwald led off the second inning being hit by a pitch. Fords had 2 runners aboard with 2 away in the third after a single and intentional walk to Smiley, but a strikeout of Carrie McCallum ended that. Haverford then in the fourth got the leadoff batter aboard via a walk, but they just haven't been able to get that big hit at the big time. Meanwhile, on the other side for North Penn, the Knights have done nothing but get big hits in big moments.
And I think the thing that, when you look back on it, the struggle that Emma Taylor had a little bit in those first, second innings did not help Haverford's cause, because they weren't getting run production, and then they were starting to, she wasn't really having her best effort at that point. She's really settled down, done a nice job since then, even though, it doesn't show that on the scoreboard,
right.
But she really has not pitched a bad ball game. But the 3 errors have hurt them at critical times.
Well, and in talking to Bob Newman before the game, he said, in talking about Emma Taylor, he said what she's, at the time 16, when he first met her, she's 16 going on 35. She's mature, nothing bothers her, and you're right, that's been the case. I mean, she's had to deal with traffic on the base paths all evening long. North Penn has delivered 1 big hit after another, yet she has just kept plugging away. And that's big-time kudos to that young lady, and a big reason why the Yale Bulldogs were all too happy to be able to sign her up for the future.
They're getting a really good one when she goes to Yale. We talked about Coach Rick Torsani and his 21st year, and when he talked to us before the game, he said, we're just going to play relaxed. We really threw one away, and that's the way it is. And that attitude, you can really see it here. And they came out aggressive, taking 2 bases instead of 1. And that aggressiveness, I think, really set Haverford back early, and they never recovered.
You want to know why, at least in part, Yale's getting a good one here? It's an 11-0 ball game, and Emma Taylor is fighting through what will be at minimum an 8-pitch at-bat. There's no quit in this Haverford group, and all credit to the Fords. Bouncer to short, Sophia Collins. Would we expect anything else from the North Penn defense except crisp execution?
When we talked to Coach Newman before the game, he said we scheduled North Penn to get that kind of competition, and it's played out. You can't ask for anything better. A 3-game series, and it looks like it's going to go 2-1 for the Knights this time. But, as you said 2 years ago, North Penn had the advantage as well, but they've been competitive games and been very good games.
Yeah, the final score in this game, in my opinion, is not going to reflect the narrative that for the bulk of this game, what was the case. 5 runs in this, 6-0 ball game going into this final 11-0. It looks like, oh goodness, it was a blowout. No. This game was tight up until the middle and latter portions, and 1 big hit by the Fords here or there, and it's a completely different complexion to this game.
Well, 2 innings ago, we're looking at Volpe trying to get out of that jam.
That's
with
right.
People on first and second. It was 5-0. That was the difference right there. As the slap goes down to third, and again, another great defensive play.
That was Ava Cohen, who moves to 0 for 3 on the day. Do want to mention that Cohen, as a senior, committed to Fairfield University. She's going to play softball there and study finance as well, as Rachel Yoakum steps in, last gasp for the Fords. Maddie Volpe has only allowed 2 hits in the game, both to Haverford leadoff batter Brooke McEwen. The last base runner she allowed was a hit by pitch to Carrie McCallum. But yeah, you got to go all the way back to 2 down in the third for the last base hit that she's given up. And the Knights are 1 out away from running the table in the PIAA state tournament without allowing a run against.
That's impressive. That's totally impressive. We talked about that coming in, and a lot of times that's something that haunts you because, we were that good the whole tournament, and then we gave up a lot of runs in the final. But it looks like that's not going to be the case here for that young lady and her team.
21-0 coming in. Now 32-0 with a 2-0 count to Yoakum. As the count moves to 2 balls and a strike.
And a lot of youngsters, too, Dan. That's the other thing. A lot of youngsters on this team, and the future looks bright.
The count is 3-1. Many of the Knights faithful in attendance have risen to their feet, anticipating this moment as Sophia Collins puts the squeeze on a North Penn Knights 6A softball championship.
And how appropriate that it was a defensive play that ended the ball game.
11-0 the final. It looks far more lopsided than the reality of this game was. The Haverford Fords they're one hit away from making this a lot more competitive than the final outcome looks. But credit to that young lady and to her head coach in his 21st season at the helm. They finally are back atop the PIAA mountaintop for the first time in 36 years. The North Penn Knights are state champs.
That right arm, they've ridden that right arm all year long and all 4 years long, except for the COVID year, as we talked about it. But started as a freshman on their first spring trip to begin the season, her freshman year, and hasn't let up since. And today was the culminating experience in the state championship.
The North Penn Knights will finish their season with 6 straight shutouts, outscoring the opposition 39-0. Part of that was the district playback round where they were able to win a game just to earn the number 5 seed out of District 1 to get to the state championship. And in the PIAA tournament, the North Penn Knights, 32 runs in the plus column and not a single one against. And all of that behind, as you said, the right arm, the super talented right arm, the Coastal Carolina bound right arm of Maddie Volpe.
She did it all, and she did it right to the bitter end. It probably wasn't her greatest performance today, but on the other side, Bob Newman accepting the runner-up trophy and giving it to his team. What an outstanding year for the Fords.
And that's not the trophy they came here for, but he accepted it with a smile as wide as you would have seen if they got the first place trophy.
And look at the smiles on their faces.
That's exactly right.
That's a sign of a mature group of young ladies, and they're going to be a huge success in life, and they've had a huge success on the diamond this year.
They finished 23-5. State runners-up. A heck of a year for the Fords from Haverford. But atop the 6A mountain, the North Penn Knights, by way of an 11-0 victory, and those are the 4 seniors. We mentioned there weren't a ton of upperclassmen on this group, all those sophomores and freshmen at the top of the batting order, but those are the 4 12th graders that have guided this team to a state title. And all 4 factored in to today's outcome because Marissa Palumbo did not start, but she got a pinch hit opportunity in the 7th inning. Time now for our Lebanon Valley College Player of the Game. Jim, we had a lot of selections in this one, but ultimately we can't go away with the stat-stuffing performance from Julia Shear.
No, she did an outstanding job. There you see it, 2 for 3, a home run. And the thing of it is that she's done it so well. The home run was a power shot right there, and then you see her celebrating coming around, and then the double was another power shot. She comes up and the next time in the box hits that double to the opposite field. What an outstanding performance by her. You can't ask for more from your leadoff hitter than she gave, and she led the tone for the Knights.
Reached base all 5 times. The Player of the Game presented by Lebanon Valley College, listed number 1 in Pennsylvania for job placement. Lebanon Valley College will get you career ready. Visit the campus and find out why their students are so successful. Undergraduate and graduate programs available for traditional and adult learners. Visit lvc.edu. Time now, Jim, the pose for the pictures. Earned and deserved, the North Penn Knights, PIAA 6A softball champs.
great job by Coach, and in his 21st year. And we talked about how he came in. He says, "We're here. We're going to have fun." And boy, did they ever! And they came home with the big trophy.
Final totals this evening for North Penn: 11 runs on 11 hits, 1 error. The Knights left just 7 runners on base. No runs for Haverford, 2 hits, 3 errors. They left 5 runners on base. Our total time of the game, 1 hour and 57 minutes, and most of it enjoyed by the North Penn Knights, who captured their first state championship in 36 years. For all of us here at PCN, my broadcast partner Jim Wills, I'm Dan Freemuth. Thank you so much for joining us for a busy but exciting day of softball here in Happy Valley. We're going to do it all over again tomorrow. The Single A, 3A, and 5A championships come your way tomorrow, starting with the Single A clash at 11 a.m. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Congratulations to all 3 of our state champions crowned here in Happy Valley.